Hi, I'm happy to be here. I am Saori Katada. I am Professor of International Relations at University of Southern California. It is a great opportunity for me to talk about my book. So the book is about the transformation of Japanese foreign economic policy in the Asia Pacific in the last quarter of century. Japan was the rising and dominant power in the region in the late 1980s and early 1990s. It was also a violator and a free rider to the international liberal order, engaging in trade wars and conflict with the United States and other countries. Now, 25 years later, it is the champion of international liberal economic order, especially carrying the torch that the US has left behind under the Trump administration. Not only in trade, but also similar changes are happening in various areas where Japan is emphasizing the regional institution building with the higher rules and higher standards. It is seen in the areas of foreign aid and development, as well as finance and monetary affairs. Both geoeconomic changes between the United States and China, as well as domestic institutional changes in Japan, explains this transformation. Rising China and the challenges from that to the liberal international economic order, and Japan's big businesses now taking advantage of such order and leaving the tutelage of the Japanese government really explains this transformation. Now the Japanese government has to follow the lead of the big businesses, and this shows what it means to be a mature developmental state. In many ways, this book is a accumulation of my work and career as a scholar. I finished my PhD in 1994, when Japan was still a very dominant and a very featured kind of a topic of research for many people, especially in the area of international political economy. While over the course of 25 years being at USC as a professor, Japan's kind of presence diminished quite significantly, or at least the attention of it diminished quite a bit. But during that time, I've been working on various aspects of Japan's foreign economic relations, from foreign aid to investment to trade and financial matters. And I want to kind of put everything in one because I've been seeing quite a bit of a pattern in various fields across the fields that is telling me that there's a kind of fundamental transformation taking place. And at the same time, I feel that I'm an IR scholar, international relations scholar, looking mostly kind of the dynamics on the external or international relations side. But also I've done some work on the Japanese domestic political economy, looking at monetary policy or some of the actual political, the kind of a political dynamics within the country. And I wanted to bridge, what I wanted to do was to bridge this comparative political economy side and international political economy side. So that's the kind of all intellectual reasons as to why I wanted to write this book. I also felt that Japan has been an underappreciated power for quite a while now. Japan still is the third largest economy in the world, just been overtaken by China about 10 years ago as the second largest, and a major credit, and Japan is still a major creditor for the rest of the world. But again, since the rise of China is so prominent, a lot of people have forgotten about Japan, which is really playing a very important role, especially in the region, but beyond. The process itself, not really surprising, but it was a long process. Basically, as I said, my 25 years at USC, I've been touching on some parts of this book from the get-go. And this is a kind of a long marathon. And unlike some kind of more contained project like articles and chapters, a book really takes a significant focus and concentration and dedication on time. So I would say, when it comes to producing a book, that's been the major challenge. And also putting pieces together in a one coherent argument is, kind of a fundamental scholarly challenge overall. Actually, another challenge to me, maybe not in terms of, kind of substance, but also in terms of my psychological position, is that I never think that my work is good enough, in the sense that I feel like there can be more that I can do on it. So kind of letting it go and say, okay, this is enough. I need to publish this and I need to let it go, was one of the major challenge overall as a producer of a book. In some ways, kind of a pleasant surprise to me is how much attention this book is getting from the scholars and practitioners since it got published last July. Maybe I got very lucky in the sense that Prime Minister Abe, who was the Prime Minister for Japan in the last almost 8 years, just stepped down pretty much as soon as my book came out, which inevitably put some spotlight on Japan. But also there are many interesting developments in the field of international political economy or the regional political economy, including the conclusion and the signing of RCEP, which is a regional RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. That was the 15-country mega free trade agreement in the western side of the Pacific. And also the CPTPP, or the TPP-11 with the United States, concluded a few years earlier, is now is getting attention from China. That Chinese President Xi Jinping noted that he is interested in getting China included in this arrangement. So overall, the timing was good, and I've been invited to give many talks, obviously via Zoom these days. So that's really a big surprise, and in some ways, really a very satisfying thing to hear from the audience across the world. I think so. Overall, I think it's the choice really of the scholar, whether one goes for more books or more articles. I think most the people kind of have a combination of the two. While what books can do that articles probably won't be able to do is to talk to the general audience and the practitioner much more. And in many ways, the scholars try to write the books more to be more accessible to the educated and the well-informed audience. And at the same time, and in addition, if you Google yourself, if you have a book, you get to that itself kind of really defines you in many ways. So that is a kind of advantage of being producing books. While obviously high caliber articles have a lot of impact. So I would not say that one is superior over to the other, but it's the different audience that you are talking to. Well, so this workshop was very, very helpful and productive for me. One thing that is, people don't think about it as much, but it is really important, is that it gave me a deadline. As I said, the book is writing a book is a marathon, and scholars like me, it's never good enough. Who feels it's never good enough. It's really great to have a deadline where I have to meet, and I have to produce a certain level of quality at that point. So having that book workshop for me, which was in April of 2016, was really wonderful, because that was at the end of my sabbatical year, which was the time I focused on this book. And having that deadline was great. So that's one. But at the same time, we invited wonderful scholars. Bill Grimes from Boston University and Miles Kaler from American University came as external discussants, along with several of my colleagues, professors from the POIR, as well as graduate students. Really gave me a lot of ways to improve my manuscript from that stage forward. So it took me another 2 years to complete it. So it took a while, but it's been really great to have that input at this earlier stage, where I wasn't set on certain direction or certain kind of a certain format, but it was great to have that input then.